Today, on the International Day for Disaster Reduction, we think about how we can all work together to diminish and, where possible, prevent human losses and economic devastation caused by natural hazards worldwide. The destruction as a result of earthquake, tropical cyclones, floods, drought, or other hazards typically has a disproportionate impact on the poorest and most vulnerable, especially women, children, youth, and the elderly. Today, some 75% of the global population lives in areas that have been affected by these kinds of hazards at least once in the last 25 years. And the indications are that, as a result of climate change, the frequency and severity of disasters is increasing. The United Nations General Assembly recognized volunteerism as an important component of any strategy aimed at disaster prevention and management, as did the Hyogo Framework for Action. The United Nations Volunteers Program has a unique contribution to make to this comprehensive effort as the UN organization that contributes to peace and development through volunteerism worldwide. We, in UNV, through our volunteers, projects, and programs, are actively supporting the efforts of poor communities to reduce their vulnerability to disasters and enhance their community resilience and recovery. In India, between 2001 and 2008, UNV and UNDP, along with hundreds of UNV volunteers, supported the work of the government in its efforts to develop and roll out disaster management plans in over 78,000 villages. These plans were built on community knowledge and resources. Working with tens of thousands of predominantly illiterate people, the UNV volunteers facilitated the development of village-specific maps, evacuation plans, and contingency strategies, and helped identify and develop the capacities of local authorities and volunteer task forces. In China, we have been collaborating with our colleagues in UNDP in the aftermath of the Sichuan earthquake to assist the Chinese governments and affected communities in meeting the unprecedented challenges of early recovery, reconstruction, and disaster risk reduction. In Sri Lanka, in the aftermath of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, some 40 national UNV volunteers were engaged with disaster management centers to support communities in affected districts. In Guatemala, through a partnership with a local university, volunteer graduates applied the lessons learned from Hurricane Mitch to train poor communities on disaster preparedness. Community volunteers, in turn, shared vital information about early warning systems and the benefits of clean, free-flowing rivers to prevent flooding in their neighborhoods. Based on our experience, UNV strongly recommends that governments and organizations further explore the unique contributions of volunteerism to reducing risk and strengthening resilience to disasters by identifying and supporting its integration into strategic planning and monitoring processes. Reducing vulnerability to risk from disasters is in everyone's interests and needs everyone's participation. Volunteerism has demonstrated to be the most inclusive, far-reaching, and most sustainable way of contributing to the theme of making cities resilient.